Let's be honest, this is the closest we're going to get to a live-action remake of The Iron Giant.
You've got me. And I'm not going anywhere.
Hello there everybody, it's me, the Canadian Rebuff, with a review of Bumblebee. Bumblebee follows the titular black and yellow Autobot who crash lands on Earth after escaping the war on Cybertron. Without his voice and with very little recollection of what happened before he got to Earth, he runs into Charlie, played by Haley Steinfeld, who helps her escape Sector 7, led this time by John Cena. So, we have a movie about giant robots from the director of a beautiful stop-motion animated movie with the writer of two very bad stalker thrillers. So, when you have two people who are on opposite ends of the quality spectrum, you can imagine that the finished product will be somewhere around here. But surprisingly, Bumblebee was the little Autobot that could, and everybody fell in love with it. Now, I wasn't there for opening weekend, for obvious reasons, but when I did finally got around to seeing it, I went in expecting, okay, this is going to be mind-blowingly awesome, right? Don't get me wrong, compared to the Michael Bay movies, this is a masterpiece. But that's sort of my problem. It's fantastic compared to the Michael Bay movies, but when you take a step back and look at it just solely as it is, it feels like a movie that we've seen countless times before. Putting my negative emotions aside for a moment, there was an overall really charming atmosphere. This movie tackles a problem that has plagued every single Transformers movie since the beginning, the human-robot relationship. When we first meet Charlie, we find out a bit about her character. She loves cars and her dad was a mechanic. Even though she has a pretty good home life, she kind of feels stuck where she is. Working at the carnival during the summer, running into high school bullies, that sort of thing. But when Bumblebee comes into a picture and they start to interact, it opens up her caring side, and the two of them are able to have a fantastic relationship with each other. The action is pretty cool too. Instead of explosions every 5 seconds, we get some pretty decent well-out fight scenes, including this awesome tracking shot between Bumblebee and not Starscream. Speaking of other Transformers, they open up a world of opportunities with future sequels after this one. In fact, if anything, this was probably the best way to go about rebooting the whole franchise. And if they keep the robots looking just as they did in the 80s cartoon, it's going to be a welcome treat for anyone who was a fan of that series. And maybe finally we'll get the trio of Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp. Seriously, how do you make 3 movies without even mentioning his cohorts? Like I said before, there is plenty to enjoy in this movie. It just feels very similar to what we've seen before. Again, compared to the explosion-a-thon we got in the past 5 movies, this is a huge improvement. But I feel like in a world where we didn't have the Michael Bay movies, or maybe we just didn't get Last Night and Age of Extinction, I have a feeling this movie would have gotten a good reception, just not a terrific reception. I guess it's all about comparing the IP of now compared to the IP of the past. And yes, I understand that everybody has a love-hate relationship with Rotten Tomatoes. We love it when it gives a movie we don't like a bad score, or a movie we liked a good score, and we hate it when it gave a movie we liked a bad score, or a movie we didn't like a good score. But for argument's sake, if Bumblebee came out in a world without the Michael Bay movies, or like I said, without the last 2 Michael Bay movies, I would place it in the low to mid-70s. Bumblebee did do a decent job retconning the whole Transformers series, but it feels like the praise it's getting is a bit over-deserved. It's like getting a grade of B after a string of D-minuses. It's a huge improvement, but it's not excellent. I did like this movie, but it just didn't feel like there was anything groundbreaking, you know? And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this story. In fact, if anything, this did the story really well. But it doesn't feel like anything we haven't seen before. I'm just saying it's something I've seen a lot before, and while it did have a lot of charming aspects, including Charlie and Bumblebee's relationship, it still felt pretty predictable and overall nothing to make you go, yes, that was spectacular! But let's wait for the next Transformers movie. Maybe that will do the trick. Point being, I'm glad this Transformers got the reboot treatment, and I do recommend seeing Bumblebee at least once in theaters. Alright, that's my review of Bumblebee. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Leave your answer by commenting down below, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you're new here. And as always, this is the Canadian Rebuff saying I hope you had a fantastic weekend at the movies. See ya!